Hello everyone. In this session, I am going to discuss about William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born on 23 April 1564 and he was died on 26 April in 1616. Birthplace is Stratfordshire on the bank of River Avon. It is said that at the age of 15, William Shakespeare stole a lamb of Mr. Lucky and ran away to avoid the punishment. He came to London and started doing petty jobs, and then he worked in Ben Jonson's play Everyman in His Humour. As an actor, Shakespeare played the role of Noel. There is a term which is Bartlotire. It has been coined by J.V. Shaw to designate the fan of Shakespeare. First person to censor Shakespearean books is Thomas Balder. Thomas Balder, when he was a child, his father would tell him the stories of Shakespeare, and Balder noticed that her father, in the presence of his mother, would omit lot of passages, few lines, or recreate the scenes, and then he would tell the Shakespeare. When he became young, he realized that his father knowingly did that because he knew that certain words and scenes in Shakespeare were not suitable for the child and the lady. This gave him the idea of censoring the Shakespeare. He tried to expurgate Shakespearean problematic words. In 1807, he published Family Shakespeare and he changed lot of scenes, words, settings. It is believed that in 24 plays he did censorship. He is the one who changed the spelling of Shakespeare to Shakespeare. He added E. Boulder was helped by both of them, made lots of changes in Shakespearean book. For example, in Macbeth, when Lady Macbeth looks her hand, which are in blood, damp with the hands, damn word was changed. Then he changed the character of prostitute in the Henry IV, and Hamlet, Ophelia, who commit suicide. Her suicide has been converted into accidental drowning. Wherever Shakespeare used for God's sake, he uses for heaven's sake. Thomas Boulder did this censorship to William Shakespeare book. A term was coined by him which was Baldrism, means to omit or censor the objectionable content. Dryden said for Shakespeare, he was the man who all moderns and ancient poets had the largest and most comprehensive soul in his essay on dramatic poesy. Shakespeare was not for an age but for all ages, it is said by Samuel Johnson. Now see William Shakespeare as a writer. Shakespeare's career has been divided into four parts by A.C. Bradley in his famous work Shakespearean Tragedy 1904. Here, Shakespeare's career has been broadly divided in four parts. So let's see phase 1. The first phase of Shakespeare's career when he was just experimenting in the art of writing. The workshop period timing is 1588 to 1594. The plays has been written by him between 1588 to 1594. Some facts are important. First work is Henry VI, part 1, 2, and 3, Richard 3, Richard 2, and King John. And Titus Andronicus, which is a tragedy which was written between 1591 to 1592. It is the story which is set in Roman Empire and deals with the story of King Titus. He was general in the Roman army and he faces the story of revenges where the Queen Temura, Queen of Ghosts, she takes revenge. What happens here? The general defeats some countries' kings and marries Queen Timura. When she is married to the general Titus, Andronicus, she requests him to pardon all her kids, but the general denies. He says, I can spare all the kids, but I will kill the elder son as he fought against her army. And then he kills the elder one. Then Queen Temura decides to take the revenge and then she starts pretending be a good wife, but in actual she starts conspiring against the king. She bribes all the ministers, courtiers, and finally her children. They rape the daughter of the general. When his daughter Lavinia reveals that his wife was behind of every tragedy, he kills the children of that lady and uses their body to make dinner and calls her to dinner and makes her to eat that. And here he questions, is it the responsibility of a father to kill the girl who has been raped? Then Queen says yes, and he kills his own daughter. Then he makes Queen to eat dinner. After taking dinner, he reveals that he knows her all conspiracy against him and she has had her own kids. Then they both attempt to kill each other and Temura's body is thrown to the beast outside the city. This becomes the concept of revenge tragedy and Shakespeare's bloodiest tragedy. But critics don't believe that Shakespeare is capable of writing this bloodshed, the macabre. Critics believe that it is written by Thomas Kidd because Titus Andronicus has been used as preface for Thomas Kidd's Spanish tragedy. In 1590 to 1594, he has written another work, The Taming of the Shrew. This book has the anti feminist theme. It is a story which starts with the framing device. Here, what happens that it has a thinker who has been called Christosley. He starts believing that he is actually a nobleman, and then the whole story starts. A girl who has a bad habit of abusing and using everyone and everything. This girl is called Katharina. She is headstrong. She is bad in words and she has a habit of criticizing everyone. Nobody wants to marry her. One day, a boy Patrico comes to marry her, and he goes to meet the girl with the permission of her father. But the lady, seeing him, starts cursing him. But this man takes it very positively and says he has never heard this kind of melodious voice, and all these abuses were amazingly selected. This is how he finally marries to the lady. After marriage, he says that as my wife has the habit of criticizing each and everything, I will share the something. And after marriage, as he has to go back to the chariots were brought in front of them, and he starts criticizing chariots, rivers, horses, and he makes his queen take a walk to the palace. And when they reach to the palace, the queen is badly tired and she wants lot of food to eat, but when the food is presented in front of them, he eats everything and starts criticizing all types of food, saying that it is salty, too hot, too sour, not good. This is how he tortures his wife. He doesn't let her take rest on the good bad. He says cushions are too soft, fan are good. This is how he makes the wife finally confessed, and leave her bad behavior. This is how he controls her lady or tames the lady. In Shakespeare time, it is a comedy where a man using his wits to convince his wife to be good. This is the anti feminist play and inspired by Arabian Nights. The next play is between 1589 to 1591, which is Two Gentlemen of Verona. This is the play have very small crew of characters, and here is the first female to male disguised. The next is Comedy of Error in 1594. It is the shortest comedy and shortest play. In this, Shakespeare has used different type of comedy, which is called slapstick comedy, disguised, and twin identities. The next is Love's Labor. The whole story is about love and how people confess their love to each other. And in phase 2, the second phase of Shakespeare, the period of growth, which is from 1593 to 1600. In this period, some great works are seen. First is Romeo and Juliet, which was published in 1595. His famous dialogue is, "You use a word for rose. You call the rose by any name. The fragrance will be the same. What is in the name?" Surnames of Romeo and Juliet are Romeo Montaigne and Juliet Capulet. His second work is As You Like It, which was in 1599 to 1600. It is the first pastoral comedy written by Shakespeare. It is a romantic comedy. It has 7 songs, and the few famous songs are Blow, Blow the Winter Wind. The second is Under the Greenwood Tree. Here the girl Rosalind, the boy Orlando, Rosalind disguised as Gamel Touchstone, and his love story start. The story has a quotation by Touchstone, which is a famous Shakespearean quote. Touchstone says, "Fool thinks he is wise, wise knows he is a fool." As You Like It song Under the Greenwood Tree has inspired Thomas Hardy's novel of the same title. The next work is Merchant of Venice, which was published in 1596. It targets a Jew. It is the story of two best friends, Antonio and Bassino, and where Bassino falls in love with a girl, Portia. The next work is Midsummer Night Dream. It is the first play where Shakespeare used supernatural elements. It is the story of Lancelot, Haima, and their love story. This sets in subplot. In main plot, the Queen of Fairy Queens, Titania, and the King of Fairies, Oberon, King orders the mischievous spirit Puck to use a chemical and apply it on the eyes of lover. The chemical effect is that once it is applied on the eyes, the person who comes in the eyesight, the person falls in love with it. Means the chemical should be applied one of the lovers, and whenever he opens his eyes, he will fall in love with another girl. The same chemical was applied on the eyelid of Queen Titania, and when she opened the eyes, she finds a donkey in front of her and she falls in love with it. When the happy ending comes, All the characters go to watch a play written by Abraham Cowley. The play is Pyramids and Theater. The next work is Measure for Measure. It is dedicated to King James. The theme of the book is justice, morality, and mercy in Vienna. It is a story of a king and a corrupt judge. The corrupt judge who forces a lady to sleep with him so that he can release the lady's brother who has been imprisoned for false charges. It is a problem play by Shakespeare. The next work is Henry IV and Henry V. Henry IV famous character is Falstaff's. Seeing the performance of Falstaff in Henry IV, Queen Elizabeth requested Shakespeare to write a book where she can find someone to fall in love. Then he wrote Merry Wives of Windsor. And after that, the third phase of his career came. It is also called the period of death and maturity, which was between 1600 to 1608. The famous work is Twelfth Night. It is the title where Shakespeare seems confused because Twelfth Night doesn't represent any 12th minister or king. Twelfth Night has the subtitle, and it is one of the Shakespeare's only book which has subtitle What You Will. The opening line of Twelfth Night is very important, where Duke Orsino, who is the Duke of Illyria, says, "If music be the food of love, play on." In this book, Shakespeare has criticized or targeted a Puritan character, Malvolio. Here, a great quotation is also written by Olivia. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, some have greatness thrust upon them. The next very famous play is Julius and Caesar, which was published in 1599. We know Julius Caesar is greatest Roman king who is the winner, champion, and his people is in love with him as a great king. But his own ministers are unhappy and they do not like the influence of Julius Caesar on Roman Empire. The conspire joining Brutus make Brutus go against his own king and they killed Julius Caesar in Act 3, Scene 1. After the killing of king, civil war starts and another hero appears, Antony. Antony and Brutus they have debate and Antony finally proves that murder of king was a wrong thing. The famous quote is cowards die many of times before their death. Comets are seen when kings die death of better goes unnoticed. And next is Hamlet, one of the longest play, has 4042 lines. Hamlet deals with the death of King of Denmark, though the title of the story is Hamlet, the tragedy of Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark. Hamlet says the line before going to fight with King. He says, "There is a special province in Fall of a Sparrow, Caesarea." Hamlet is one of the most filmed story after Cinderella. And Polonius guides his elder son about his college life and says, "This above all to thine own self be true." When Marcellus found the soul of the king, he said, "Something is rotten in the state of Denmark." When Hamlet is so much confused with his father's death, he thinks to commit suicide and says to be or not to be. Hamlet was written between 1599 to 1601. Horatio, a friend of Hamlet, who informs Hamlet about the father ghost. There is Uncle Claudius, Mother Gratier, how Hamlet's father has been killed. The question is arises. Answer is a poison was poured on his ear while he was sleeping in the garden. Poison was poured by his uncle. Hamlet pretends to be mad. His uncle sends two spies after him, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. It is a book by Tom Stafford titled taken from Hamlet. Hamlet tried to do another trick and he performs a play in front of his uncle. In the play, the scene being recreated how his father was murdered. It is the play which is called The Murder of Gonjango. When Horatio questions that what is this, Hamlet says this is a mouse trap. Hamlet speaks to his mother and says, Frailty, the name is woman. The other good quote in Hamlet were spoken by Polonius. Polonius speaks to his son and teaches him the moral conduct. He tells him, never a borrower nor a lender be for money often loses itself and the friend. Give the ears to everyone, but tongue to none. Polonius is to Claudius says that brevity is wit. When Hamlet is on deathbed, he calls his friend and says, Horatio, I am dead. Which literary term is employed in Horatio? I am dead. It is a prolapse. Prolapse means the nearing future has been presented, that is already happened. T.S. Eliot called Hamlet an artistic failure on the grounds of objective correlative. Objective correlative is a term coined by Washington Allston in 1848. It deals with the inner feelings of the hero and the outer existence of the nature. T.S. Eliot said Hamlet doesn't have correlative object while other books have it. Infinite Jest is the famous novel written by David Foster Wallace, title taken from Hamlet's speech when he is holding the skull and talks about the fortunate and unfortunate life and says, Life is an infinite jest. Othello is his another famous work which was between 1603 to 1604. The question arises that why in Othello Ego is not killed by Othello. When Othello was written, it was the time of King James I. The king believes in the police reforms, judiciary reforms, and he wanted to give a message to everyone that we should have faith in judiciary. Othello is a black man and Desdemona is a white lady. The next is King Lear, which was between 1605 to 1606. It has been called the best tragedy. J.B. Shaw said that no man will ever write a better tragedy than King Lear. King Lear has three daughters. The hamity of King Lear is old age. He extended to be flattered. Some famous quotes are looking at King Lear's body, Kant says he is the most unlucky person I have ever seen. King Lear says himself, as flies to the wanton boys, we are to the god, they kill us for their sport. Happy ending to the book King Lear was given by Nortale. The next play is Macbeth, which was published in 1606. It deals with supernatural elements. Macbeth is the commando and a warrior. He is fighting in a battle for King Duncan of Scotland. After winning the battle, while returning, he finds three witches Those who are hovering around a cauldron singing song and they say, "Fear is foul" or "Foul is fear." The witches are introduced in opening chapter and they speak the line, "Where shall we meet again? Thunder, lightning, or in rain?" They see Macbeth and welcome him, calling him the Thane of Cawdor and Thane of Cleves. Macbeth questions that why they are calling him so, because he is none of them. Then witches say that this is the future you. You will become Thane, and very soon you will become the King of Scotland. At this time, Macbeth was accompanied one of his friend Bango, and witches say Bango soon will be the king of Scotland in future. Macbeth doesn't pay any heed to them. In mid of his journey, he was welcomed by certain soldiers. Those have been sent by King Duquesne. They say that Macbeth, you are appointed as a Thane of Cawdor and Glamis because King Duquesne is pleased by your bravery and performance in the war. Macbeth starts realizing that this is the prophecy by witches which have been fulfilled recently. He goes to meet his wife, Lady Macbeth, and critics call her fourth witch of Macbeth. He tells about all things and events which has happened. Lady Macbeth becomes more ambitious. She starts forcing her husband to do something to be the king of Scotland. She starts believing that the third prophecy will also happen as two had happened. At the same time, a messenger comes with the information that King Duquesne will stay with Macbeth at the same palace. Lady Macbeth takes it as an opportunity and she says that this is the time we should kill the king. But Macbeth, being a loyal commander, denies to do that. There is a debate between Lady Macbeth and Macbeth. Lady Macbeth challenges masculinity of her husband. She says that I am a woman, weaker one, otherwise I would have killed him. And she says a famous line, "Unsex me here." Finally, when Macbeth is totally convinced, they made King Duquesne take a good food and sleep. After that, they drug the guards and the guards are slapped. Lady Macbeth and Macbeth go to the king's chamber and where Lady Macbeth looks at king and says, "I myself would have killed him, but he resembles my father while sleeping." Then Macbeth goes inside and kills the king. As he stabs the king, a sudden whisper is heard in the whole palace, "Sleep no more," because Duquesne was sleeping at that time, and when Macbeth killed him, he was sleeping indirectly. He violated a very pure and innocent thing, which is sleep. This message was a divine message, sleep no more. After this scene, nobody will able to sleep in the palace and this happens. Many of you must have studied that Lady Macbeth keeps washing her hand as she sees her hand in blood. The question arises that why Lady Macbeth sees blood in her hand? Macbeth has killed the king. Macbeth kills Duquesne, but getting scared, he drops his daggers in the bed and comes back. Lady Macbeth questioned to her husband, "Where are your daggers?" And then she got to collect the dagger. Here she picks the dagger and applies the blood on the sleeping guard, on their sword and faces. This is how Lady Macbeth becomes a part of the murder. Next morning, they pretend that they have no idea about the murder and they go to question the guard. When guards wake up, they are totally confused. And Macbeth, without giving them a chance to speak, he kills them, saying that the guards have killed the king. This is how he becomes the king. And when Macbeth has become the king, he finds his friend as he knew that Banquo's son will become the king. He gets Banquo killed. Banquo's ghost appear in the feast and Macbeth talked to the ghost. After this, people started suspected that Macbeth has a role in murder of the king. Duncan's son ran away. Macbeth realizes that possible threat to him is another commando, Macduff. So Macbeth sends soldiers to kill Macduff with his whole family, but they don't find Macduff and they kill his family. The Macduff is also looking for revenge. Macbeth goes to meet witches again and he questions about the fate of his kingdom. Witches tell him that you will not be defeated until the wood of Barium walks. No mortal can kill you. Means the normal who had the normal birth. Macbeth becomes very assured that he is not going to be killed by anyone. One day, a messenger comes and he tells Macbeth that he has seen the woods of Barium is walking. Macbeth goes to the castle and looks at the woods of Barium and he finds that his enemy army is approaching towards his nation. They have covered themselves with the branches of trees. So, with a distance, it looks like the wood of Barium is walking. Thus, it fulfills one of the prophecies. Then they enter, they fight, and while fighting, Macbeth meets Macduff. Macbeth tells him that you can't kill me, and Macduff reveals he says, I was half ripe. I had a premature birth, and Macbeth realizes that which is indirectly before him, and all the prophecies were meant to be fulfilled. Then Macbeth gives the beautiful line life is a tale told by an idiot full of sound, and fury signified nothing. The Macbeth dies. From this quotation, full of sound and fury signify nothing, the title has been taken by William Faulkner, which was in and the quotation by Lady Macbeth, washing her hands as she finds hallucination, the blood is in her hand. She says, all Arabian perfume can't sweeten my hand. It is blood, blood and blood. Lady Macbeth is called the fourth witch of the story. And the next great work of Shakespeare was Merry Wives of Windsor, which was between 1577 to 1598. This book was written on request of Queen Elizabeth. She saw the performance of Henry IV, Part 1 and 2. It was carried away by the performance of Falstaff, A Fat Knight. Queen Elizabeth personally requested Shakespeare to write a comedy where she can find Falstaff comedy and Falstaff in love. In this story, Falstaff is a person with a very low amount and to be rich. He pretends to flirt with two married women, and here he sends two love letters to these women so he can befool them and take money. But these women, they are the merry wives, they are friends, and they show love letters to each other, and they realize that the fat Falstaff is actually making fun of them. But these women, just to take revenge from Falstaff, they knowingly trick him and they show him that they are seduced by him. Then wives meet Falstaff and they may feel that Falstaff is the one who is the seducer, and this is how Falstaff is embarrassed and insulted. Here Shakespeare has made fun of Lucy family. The next play is Timon of Athens, which was written in between 1605 to 1606. Timon of Athens deals with the concept of greed. There is a king who has lots of friends and he has the habit of throwing lavish parties and finally runs out of money. Then he realizes that he has been deceived by his friend. They made use of his money, and when he has no money, he has been left by his friend. Once again, he calls his friend for a party, and all the friends, those who realize that Timon is very rich and pretending to be very poor, when his friends open the lid of the food container, they find pebbles, stone, grass in platter and basket. And king makes to eat them. He says, "You are my friends and enjoyed my company when I had lot of money, and now I have nothing, and I have only this thing. Now you have to eat this because you are my friend." It deals with the theme of corrupt or false friend. Timon of Athens is an example of investitive. Investitive is a literary device where you abuse someone using the most dignifying language. Here, Timon of Athens, he criticizes his friend, calling them the most smiling, soothing parasites, make beer's time fly. And in the phase 4 of Shakespeare's career, he wrote The Tempest, which was between 1610 or 1611. Let's see the post colonial study of Tempest. Prospero, when he explored Iceland, he is a Western explorer and finds the Iceland and start colonizing it. He finds the native Gabium and teaches him English and make him speak and behave like him. Caliban, when he talks to Tranquillo, Frank says that Caliban looks like a beast and he will take him to England dead or alive because he will use Caliban to be shown in the freak shows, and I will make a lot of money by showing this beast in the cage of England. This is how it shows the inferiority and superiority complex between the Caliban and white explorers. Then the concept of enslaving, how Prospero learns magic, uses magic, and civilizes Caliban. In short, this becomes the example of post colonizing identity because Prospero and Miranda they teach English to Caliban, and Caliban says, "My master Tho has taught me a tongue, and now I know how to curse you." And they civilize him according to them. And Caliban was the native of same Island, but he was not given the identity. In fact, the Western explorer or English people they make him behave like them. The next play is Carolinius, which was a Roman play published in 1608, and next is Cymblium, which is written between 1610 to 11, and then Precals, which was published in 1607, and after that Winter's Tale, and after that All is Well That Ends Well, which was a problem play between 1606 to 1607. Antony and Cleopatra, which was published in 1606. It shows the love story of Antony and Cleopatra. Antony and Cleopatra's last scene has been used by John Dryden in his drama All for Love. And Trulius and Cressida between 1602. It is a dark comedy. Here Shakespeare makes fun of true love. After that, he wrote problem plays, Roman plays, and Greek tragedies. The first problem play is All's Well That Ends Well. Measure for Measure, Trulius and Cressida. Roman play are Julius Caesar, Antony and Cleopatra, Carolinius, and his great tragedy are Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, and Macbeth. After that, we see Shakespearean style of comedies. In his comedy, we have certain points: love and romance, imagination, disguise, feminine character, music, sound, and entertainment, and clones. And characteristics of Shakespearean tragedies are one man story. Shakespeare was following the Aristotelian style of higher standard. All of his heroes are prince, king, or commander. And fatal flaw, rise and fall of the hero, pity and fear, many victims. King Lear has maximum death and Othello has minimum death, 4 death. And Shakespeare historical plays, they cover the history of 350 years of Britain. Richard Henry series and his historical plays are based on Helen Shid chronicles, while Shakespeare's Roman play Julius Caesar and Antony and Cleopatra are based on Petrarchian lives. After the death of Shakespeare in 1616, the downfall of the drama was started. The standard and state of drama lost significance, people starting writing to make money. This was the time when very small writers came. They started writing to criticize women, to talk about aristocratic life, two were dealing with the latest fashion, high manners, but they were hardly concerned with normal life. The first man who stood against the degradation of drama was Ben Jonson. Ben Jonson criticized William Shakespeare on the grounds of three unities. Three unities are classical style of writing drama, unity of time, action, and place. A drama should not exceed more than 24 hours. A story should be one day story, and unity of place is that the constant scenes shifting should follow the rule of unity of time. Means scene setting can't be shifted in a frequent way or the distance which can't be covered in 24 hours. Unity of action is all about the flat and round characters, that the characters those who are introduced in the play, they should be flat characters. Means if they are introduced as a villain, they will be the villain till the last, and if they are heroes, they will be the same till the last. Ben Jonson didn't like Shakespeare, and he said that Shakespeare has freely violated all these unities. So that's all about the William Shakespeare. In next video we will talk about the Jacobean age, in which the famous writer is Ben Jonson. So thank you so much for listening so carefully. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.